Ladies and gentlemen, big one this evening. Thank you for joining once again. Mohammed bin Salam have done it again. Like this guy, I don't think he knows how to stay out of the media. He's just there. He loves controversy. I don't know what is up with this guy. Because there are times I've actually tried to defend him and say, oh, maybe people don't like him because he's like from the Middle East and stuff. And that's why they're trying to make things hard for him or trying to push him out and all of that. But to be honest, this guy is the cause of most of his problems, to be honest. Because, like, let me not say too much. Let's just get into what happened this evening. So, this evening, I was scrolling on X and I came across this article from The Race. Now, if you don't know who The Race are, they're a big, like, motorsport news. I don't know if they're a newspaper but you know what? They do put out a lot of motorsport content. Every aspect of motorsport, they put out some good information there, and they have journalists that are involved with Formula One, all categories of motor racing. So they put out this article about how, if you remember last year, Max Verstappen was given a community service for swearing. Now, coming into this year, he could get fined close to £40,000. Is it £40,000 or euro? 40,000 euros. Imagine being fined 40,000 euros because you swore. Let's get into what the article says here. The article says Formula One drivers will risk points deductions and bans for misconduct breaches under the new guidelines issued by the championship governing body, the FIA. Huh? Points deductions for misconducts. For misconduct breaches, that's what it says. Misconduct, in quotes, misconduct breaches. And for me, which this does not make sense, because it's like, what kind of misconduct are you talking about here? Anyway, let's go into the definition of what the FIA constitutes as misconduct. Misconduct is to be understood in a particular way, but not limited to, as the general use of a language that is offensive, insulting, coarse, rude, and abusive. An act of assaulting or incitement to all acts that fall into either or two of the previous categories. So misconduct could be assaulting or incitement. What does that even? Because if someone criticizes an FIA official now, does that mean the person is inciting or assault? I don't understand. This is just so vague. It's so vague because, like, now with this very vague interpretation, that means they can dish out so many fines as much as they want. And the crazy thing is, the Grand Prix Drivers Association, the GPDA, last year put out a statement asking, even though, yes, these days you've been raising the fines and all of that, increasing the fine, we want to know where the money is going to. This guy has not even said where the money is going to. And he said, oh, the driver should just focus on driving and he will focus on what they're doing. It doesn't make sense. You're not giving transparency and you're clamping down more, making the sport so hard for people to watch. Like, there are so many issues that the FIA could focus on. How about last year we had so many inconsistencies when it comes to giving out penalties during the race. Oh, this person gets 5-second penalty for going off the track and getting an advantage, while this person, for doing the same thing, gets 10 seconds. This person causes a collision, he gets 5 seconds. This person causes a collision, he gets 10 seconds. What is that? The inconsistency is too much. Instead of you to build a team and develop a team that will bring so much consistency to the to the refereeing of the sport, you are now trying to, like, just get money from somewhere. I honestly don't understand what his focus is at this point. Now, let's get into the main breaches here that we're talking about that will constitute misconduct. Look at it. The FIA regulation breaches. So for each offense, for each of these breaches, the first offense you pay. I think for all of them up until the last one, you pay 10,000 euros for the first offense. So the second offense, you pay 20,000 euros plus 1 month suspension, which is suspended. That means you don't have to serve it. You don't have to serve it. So you pay the 20,000 euro fine, but a 1 month suspension, which is suspended. But on the third offense, you get a 30,000 euros fine plus 1 month suspension plus deduction of championship points. I'm sorry. If someone is swearing or someone criticizes an FIA official for something they did during the race or during the race weekend, are you trying to tell me if they're in a championship battle, let's say it was their third offense, okay, if you do that within a 2-year period, you get this. So let's say the person has committed the offense first time, second time, pays all these fines, and the third time, they're in a championship battle. You're trying to tell me if they curse again or they criticize an FIA official, you are going to suspend them? That doesn't make sense. Given if you go through history and see the things Formula One drivers have done in the past, you'll be shocked that this is even being considered to be adopted by. I mean, it's not like it's being shocked. It's already adopted because these are the guidelines. These are the current guidelines of the FIA International Sporting Code. This is crazy to me, to be honest. It doesn't make sense. So Article 12 point. So here are the breaches that if you commit, you could face either of these fines, either if it's your first time, second time, or third time, as I mentioned earlier. So Article 12.2.1.f says of the ISA International Sporting Code says any words, deeds, or writing that have caused moral injury or loss to the FIA, its bodies, its members, or its executive officers, and more generally, I'm going to take this again. Any words, deeds, or writings that have caused moral injury or loss to the FIA, its bodies, its members, or its executive officers, and more generally to the interests of motorsport and on the values defended by the FIA. I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? So if someone criticizes you, like let's say a driver criticizes an FIA steward for what they did during the race or for some decision they made which is wrong, you're going to find the driver. Is that what you're saying? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Any misconduct, oh boy. And we went over the definition of the misconduct earlier. Misconduct is vague. The definition of misconduct is vague. There is no driver that will go out there that was, I know there was a recent case in which drivers will go and let's say shove each other because of, let's say they had a crash. I think the last case of this was in 2018, 2019 when Max Verstappen went to shove Esteban Ocon after the race because Ocon cost him the win of the Brazilian Grand Prix. I think that was 2018 or 2019. But that being said, I don't see how misconduct. Oh my goodness! Let me even forget that one. Now, the next one is any public incitement of violence or hatred. Now, that one I can understand. We both support that. I think everyone will understand that if you incite violence or hatred, it's okay to get fined. Everybody can support that because that is common sense. But the other ones, I honestly don't agree with it. Then the next one, Article 12.2.1 says the general making and display of political, religious, or personal statements or comments, notably in violation of the general principle of neutrality promoted by the FIA under its statutes, unless previously approved in writing by the FIA for international competitions or by the relevant ASN for national competitions within their jurisdiction. Okay, so this one, in general, FIA has branches around the world. So I think those branches could actually allow some of these personal statements or religious or political statements, but still, I think, for example, for personal statements, if someone is trying to make a personal statement which he believes in, honestly, I do not think that should be a cause for concern for anyone, to be honest. Like, let's say, for example, when Lewis and Seb actually were protesting the Black Lives Matter, they joined in the Black Lives Matter protest in the year 2020 during the pandemic. In fact, most of the drivers joined. They put on the shirt and all of that. I know that was something that caused like a bit of controversy for the FIA, but still, it's for a good cause. I think for you to say they will pay for the first offense, they will pay €10,000 plus an apology and repudiation of comments fine may be suspended. Why would I apologize for making a statement that I believe in? It doesn't make sense. These are the kind of issues. Then for the second time, you have to pay £20,000 plus 1 month suspension, which is suspended. On the third time, you have to pay €30,000 plus public apology and repudiation of comment plus 1 month suspension and deduction of championship points. Who is this guy? No, who is this guy? This Ben Sulayem guy is, oh no. I'm sorry, I don't know who is advising this guy. I don't know who is advising him, but whoever is advising him, or this thing the power is getting too much to him. Honestly, this feels like someone that, when they were little, they didn't have, they were bullied. And now they feel like they've grown and they have power. They're going to bully everybody. This is what it just feels like. Because there is no reason. Where did this even come from? Because coming from last season, we didn't have a lot of this. These things were not even the only issue. You could say maybe the criticism for FIA stewards, but that was warranted because they were so inconsistent in the application of the rule of the law. It did not make sense whatsoever. So coming down to this to like clamp down on any form of criticism for the FIA, because of course they will face criticism. So you're saying someone criticizes you, they'll pay a fine. Now, if they pay that fine, you won't tell us where the money is going to. You won't even acknowledge that one. It doesn't make sense. This will not go down well with the drivers for sure. And honestly, if Ben Sulayem keeps going down this route, in no time you will see the drivers have a strike. One day we'll just, we want to watch a Formula One race on Sunday, and no driver is on the track because they'll be protesting. Say, we don't want this. We're not doing this. And they are not far away from doing it because drivers have done this before. I think this was in the 1970s or 1980s. And there was when the GP, I think it was the South African Grand Prix. And after that, the GPDA then had to be disbanded by the FIA because of the cause. I think it caused a disruption in. Of course, because that's what protests are meant for, to cause disruptions, to enforce change. So yeah. But let's see how to go down with the drivers on this one. The last one is failure to comply with the instruction of the FIA regarding the appointment and participation of persons during official ceremonies at any competition counting towards a FIA championship. So this basically means anytime the FIA invites you for an event, you have to go. So if you don't go, the first time you don't show up, you pay €15,000 fine. The second time you don't go, you pay 30,000 plus suspension of access to reserved areas of event for next event. So if you don't go for the second time, for the next event you'll be going, you have to pay 30,000 euros. Then your access to reserved areas will be suspended for the next event that you will go to. Now, if you don't go for the third event, you have to pay 45,000 euros plus suspension of access for reserved areas of event for 6 months plus deduction of championship points. This does not make sense. You cannot force somebody to be where they don't want to be. Because someone not going to a particular event means they are protesting the event. So imagine, look at a good example we can use is soccer or football, as wherever you're watching this from. When Vinicius and Real Madrid refused to show up at the Ballon d'Or last year because they felt like the Ballon d'Or, Vini deserved the Ballon d'Or, but he wasn't getting it. And they gave it to Messi. Sorry, they gave it to what's his name again? Oh my God. Anyway, they gave it to Rodri. They gave the Ballon d'Or to Rodri. And Real Madrid like, listen, we're not gonna show up. Every person should have the right to do that. They don't have to show up. You give them an invitation, they have the right to decline it. They shouldn't be getting fines for this. This does not make sense. Anyway, honestly, that's all I can cover now because Ben Sulayem is running crazy. Honestly, I don't know who is advising him. I don't know who is pumping all these ideas into his head, but he needs to calm down, honestly, because it won't take long before the drivers. I know the drivers will definitely do something about this. We just need to wait and see because Drive to Survive is not yet out. I am sure the drama just got started for this year. I know there's the good news of Lewis joining Ferrari and all of that, but for this to come out this evening, I am sure even the team principals will have to look into this and give their driver some kind of backing in this. This does not make sense, honestly. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. My name is Michael Bassi. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.